23rd on night 1. And I have to say, for me personally, looking around, some of the tubes, some of the setups look a bit similar. I'm not able to tell the difference, but I know this is something we haven't yet looked at, which is from Skyburst.
Yeah, these are Roman candles.
Okay.
So this is an actual Roman candle. These ones are made by a company called Europa, a Spanish company. These particular candles have whistles with silver tails. It's a 45mm size. It's a repeater, if you like, so it fires the same effect time after time. And this one in particular has 10 shots. And what we need to look out for with Roman candles is the quality of the candle, because if you've got each of these tubes putting out 10 different shots, what you want is you want them to all fire simultaneously and keep firing simultaneously right from their first shot to their 10th.
Okay.
What you don't want is for them to get the timing out and then having a bit of a starting good, nice and even, going up, but then ending up with a mishmash. And what you expect with a high-quality product like this is that the timing should be so good. We can look out for that tonight when these repeaters are going off.
Let's talk finales then to wrap up. Everyone's got their own style, as we've seen from looking down, but we're kind of used to seeing these huge brocade displays. Is there a surefire way to guarantee a good finale, or is there room for a bit of creativity?
I think you want something that gets bigger and bigger and builds and really takes the audience with it, and then just fills the sky, absolutely fill the sky with fireworks. And most of the teams will do that with a gold effect that we call brocade. We will see brocades throughout all 6 shows, I can guarantee it. They'll add in noise and perhaps some flashing effects and perhaps a little bit of colour. When my team did it all those years ago, we had brocade and blue, which looked beautiful.
Blue's a really hard colour to make as well, isn't it?
It is,
yeah.
Absolutely is. But if you've got a good blue, then use it, absolutely. But we can have strobe and everything. It's impossible to tell what they're going to do from their brocade unless they tell us. And some of the teams have told us what they're doing, so as each show goes through, we can sort of preview what to look out for.
But you're saying the bigger the better for the finale is the way that these teams are going to want to win.
The classic Plymouth brocade finale has won for many teams over the years, so that would be, I think it would be really tough to not choose that if I was competing.
Well, there we have it. Months of preparation, hours of planning here on the breakwater, and it will all come to fruition over the next couple of nights. So join us for the British Firework Championships as they get ready to unfold.
Well, we know Plymouth is a fantastic backdrop for the Firework Championships, but of course there are certain limitations to being out on the breakwater, the amount of fireworks you can have. We saw there an 8-inch firework is the biggest we've got here tonight, but you compare that to a 48-inch one, which we see elsewhere in the world. I mean, what is the difference looking at that in the sky?
Oh, they're huge, aren't they? On 48-inch, you wouldn't be holding that in your arms.
That one's certainly bigger than my head, I'd like to point out.
No, so we're looking at, we've got some amazing pictures of Japanese and Maltese fireworks where they really are masters of what they create. Absolutely stunning. Here's a Maltese fireworks factory. I've been lucky enough to go around this factory and see this all for myself. But the Maltese, they make fireworks for their festivals, and they call them their feast. Okay. And a feast in every little village has its own feast, and they make them. Here we go. That string is holding that firework together and giving it extra strength. And here we've got some cylinder shells that are drying and getting ready for finishing off and adding into additional bits of fireworks. These are stars. Those are the stars that make the coloured patterns in the sky.
Okay.
Here are a whole load of other manufactured products, a load of cylinder shells there. Look at those big ones right there, and those ones on the ground. Those are single shells. When we went out onto the breakwater today, you saw ball shells and little cylinder shells, not as long as those ones. And here inside a shell, you can see stars around the outside, the yellow and the green. That was actually a smiley face shell. And then in the middle...
This is what's so interesting to me, because when you look at the shells, I just envision them packed with explosives, but they are actually distributed in certain patterns and shapes, and that's how we get them in the sky.
Yeah, these are master craftsmen. They really do know their skill and what they're doing and making stars here. It looks like a cement mixer. It's not. It's actually making the stars that we put into them. There's some black powder and some making various different effects there and smoothing in the powder into some tubes. And this here, they press them into there to make some probably comets, I imagine. It's really, really very clever. And the other thing that you can't tell from these, we look at these and these are black, and that's gunpowder, in fact. Right. We look at it, it's all black, but you can't tell what color it is. Look at those stars drying in the sun there. Absolutely stunning. A nice silver color as well. I can't tell you how good that silver color is when you actually see it up close. But yeah, these black stars, but it's like seeds. You can't tell what a seed's going to make, is it? You can't tell what colour that star's going to be.
And this is quite an intuitive way of getting everything, you know, in. They have the moulds that are built the same shape. They can just, you know, pop them down into the tubes like this.
That's a mechanical press that's pushing everything in together really nicely. There he is just topping everything up, popping some gunpowder into the ends. And this green stuff is called ViscoFuse. And these fuses are what take the fire into the little component that's going to burst in the sky. And there they are. They're making what we would call a barrage or a cake there and putting the little tubes they've just been making into a bigger set of tubes that has fuses running in between each of them. Look at the size of it. And back there into the room. I feel like I've been in that actual room, you know, when I look at it. And look at those. Look at those long tubes. One of those is just one shell, and it's made up of lots of different breaks. It's like sandwiching together lots of the shells we saw today.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at something like that where it's being made, and also the event like we have here tonight, what are the biggest technical challenges then when it comes to preparing for an event like this?
I think one of the biggest technical challenges is actually really simple, and that's just getting all the fireworks together in the first place. In today's supply chain, some fireworks arrive quite late, and I've heard that some fireworks for tonight's shows only arrived yesterday.
Oh,
now,
really?
Can you imagine being in charge of the firework display and being told, yeah, it'll be here tomorrow? You know, it's not like a delivery service. You've got a lot of trust. That's probably the hardest one, actually, is getting all their stock together. Then they've got to design the show. Designing it really probably takes place after they've got a lot of the fireworks committed to and available, and then you've got to fuse it and prepare it. And a lot of the preparation would have taken place back at their base, and the final steps would have taken place here on Mountbatten Breakwater.
I mean, we saw everybody down at the Breakwater earlier when we were there, you know, matching the fuses in with the firing systems they've got, and you said it could be as simple as wiring the wrong firework into the wrong section of the you know, firing element that could send a green firework when it's supposed to be in the middle of a red display. Yeah,
it could be a bit of a problem if you had something like that. If you had somebody plug the wrong thing in or put the wrong marking onto the firework, then that would be a real problem. But I can tell you, Erin, that as always, we have got our man down on the Breakwater, Anthony Green, who is down there in amongst the teams, and he's feeding back information into my ear as to what's going on. Everything is going very calm, very slow, very methodically, no problems at all, and Team 1 are getting ready to fire their show, which we're expecting at 9:30.
Perfect. Well, yeah, we are ticking ever closer to 9:30, so it is Sonic Fireworks who are up first this evening. They are the Devon-based firework company. Winners in 2022, and they're also the two-time runner-ups of the British Musical Firework Championship. So can we expect to see maybe a bit of rhythm coming from them?
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Glover is the principal there at Sonic Fireworks. He's been the designer of tonight's show, and it's been set up and led by a team led by Rob Jolliffe. They have got Celestial Cascade is the theme of their display, a night of 1,000 stars. Lots of things that we can look out for in the show as it fires, and I can tell you that their firing system is armed and ready to go. So we've got 6 minutes to go, but they are ready. They're nice and stable. They're operating the Cobra firing system for anybody that knows about it. But here's some things to look out for during some fuchsia-coloured strobe comets. So We all know what fuchsia is, a kind of pinky
Yep.
colour. Strobe is a flashing star, so it's going to flash on and off. So pink flashing stars from a company called Marti, which is a Spanish company, and they get then with pink, blue to pink strobe shells and a crackling sequence overhead. We have pillar mines, a pillar mine which will erupt with a column of stars looking like a pillar up into the sky, and then some jellyfish effects. One of the things we need to look out for tonight is a number of different shapes that are made. So look for the jellyfish in their show. We've got a dazzling white multi-flash strobe sequence using an Italian Parente series of shells. Parente is a very famous manufacturer. They do a lovely white strobe, so expect the sky to be filled with hundreds of thousands of little flashing, twinkling silver stars.
So they're going for colour, twinkling. Shall we? Let's go and hear from their spokesperson direct, and then I want to make sure we don't miss any of it. So let's hear from them quickly now.
Hi, I'm Spud from Sonic Fireworks. We are the champions of 2022. We're a local company based in Ufcombe. We're firing first tonight. Things to look out for in our display. We got some sea creatures that you'll be able to spot in the sky. We got some spectacular white multi-flash sequences and some real nice multicolour strobing sequences as well.
There you go. You've got all the insider intel. That is exactly what they want us to keep their eyes peeled for.
Yeah, but they've also got a classic Plymouth gold brocade finale.
Yes.
And if you remember, the brocade crown shell is a shell that bursts with big trails of golden twinkling stars. We're going to see a lot of those tonight. They're really, really popular, and they look awesome in a finale. So they have a gold brocade finale, and anybody that doesn't like loud noises, I have to warn you that we have some of the loudest maroons allowed by the rules that are really going to echo across Plymouth Sound. A maroon is simply a bang.
Okay.
They have got some very big bands. Some of them are on the ground, some of them are up in the sky.
Yes, because did we look at some of these earlier where they're hanging off these giant steel poles off the breakwater, and that is, you know, they're just there ready to go.
Great big solid cylinders full of what we call flash powder. Flash powder is what you need to make that bang. So the funny thing here about Plymouth is because we're a safe distance away, it's about 400 metres between the breakwater and where the audience are watching from, then we see the flash of the firework before we hear the bang. But that bang's going to be loud tonight because Sonic have really thrown everything at it in terms of noise in their finale.
Okay, so everyone here tonight will be able to see when they need to put their fingers in their ears just before it actually happens. They're celebrating their 30th anniversary this year, and they love a big finale. When something like this coincides with a personal company event like the anniversary, does that kind of add a little bit of extra pizzazz that they want to show off?
Yeah, I think so. I think that this is very special to them. They've brought some great fireworks here for us to see, some things hopefully that we haven't seen at all before. And in fact, I'm just hearing that we are getting the clearances. The King's Harbour Master is checking the area. We have water marshals out there and a water exclusion zone, which pleasure craft have to keep outside of. And only when the King's Harbour Master is happy that everything is clear do they give the clearance to event control here on Plymouth Hoe. And event control gives the thumbs up to our adjudicator tonight, Charlotte Winship from the Event Services Association. And in fact, we've been given clearance and we've got the 2-minute countdown. 2-minute countdown to Sonic fireworks display.
All right, well, everybody get ready, prepare yourselves. Just before we go to that, what does the launching of the display actually look like? Is it a press of a button or is it something different?
It's not really all that exciting, I have to tell you. It is just the press of a button. Usually it says fire. They have to arm the system first, but we heard that it was armed about 5 minutes ago, so it's been ready. So as long as Mike Glover or whoever's pressing the button tonight doesn't have a nervous finger and sort of
could that be okay? They could accidentally set it off
I had to keep my finger away from it when I'm firing one of these shows like this. You don't want to have it too close, just in case you touch it. But yeah. They will be nervous and looking forward to it. And of course, this display is timed. It has to be exactly 10 minutes long. And if it's longer or shorter, there are penalties potentially awarded by the judges who are under the stewardship of Jim Winship from the Event Service Association. He is with the panel of judges and making sure that everything runs fairly there.
Gosh, so they'll have a stopwatch and everything. I could understand running over, but running under is interesting that incurs a...
Well, we might get them running under. If they have a firing system failure or if a firework blows up on the ground and it takes out all-important cabling, the Cobra system doesn't really use a lot of cabling, but if something like that happens, then, yeah, you can lose part of a fireworks display. We should hear about that, though, from our mole on the breakwater if there are any problems, but we could probably see it for ourselves as well.
Well, it certainly sounds from the intel you're getting that they are armed, ready to go. So we shouldn't have any delays. And probably in about 10 seconds' time...
Here we go. It's the countdown. 8, 7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2,
Sonic
1.
fireworks from Devon. All right, we are off for night one of the British Firework Championships. That was Sonic Fireworks from Devon. They say they love a big finale, Andy, and I think it's fair to say they pulled the pin in the last 30 seconds there.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? They said it was going to be the loudest that we were actually allowed to fire here at Plymouth, and wow, that ending was massive. And those bangs, the really loud ones that were coming off at ground level that you could see. There was one that went off earlier on that you spotted, and there were big ones going off, but it was, yeah, big brocade finale. We're going to see more of those over the next 2 nights, I predict.
Yeah, the noise that we heard earlier on, do you think that was deliberate, or do you think, is this one of those situations where maybe something gets caught up in the other fireworks?
It could be anything. It could be one on its own. That was fine. But I don't think it detracted from the display at all. That was a beautiful show. And I saw some fireworks that I really, really enjoyed there. The complementary colours throughout that display. We started with red and white near the start. And we had silver falling leaf shells. And then some of those multi-flash that we saw. You can't fail to notice those Italian, lovely, beautiful shells. There was a lovely turquoise shell with a kind of gentle silver spinners at the end, which I loved. Red and green strobe. Did you see the jellyfish, Erin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were really good. The jellyfish shells. I think we're going to see some more animals and more shapes as the night goes on tonight. We saw rings down near the bottom, some beautifully formed rings with strobes and colours. Red and green strobe and red and green other effects as well. More silver multi-flash, blue star with red strobe. We saw a lovely red and gold strobe sequence. Do you remember? It's sort of a pinky gold sequence. I really enjoyed their single shots. So the single shot, these are the smaller tubes that were along the front of the site. One of the teams has got over 1,000.
Wow.
And we saw those, and we saw some pillar mines. Do you remember the pillar mines?
Yep.
And they were colour changing. Can you remember the colour change?
Oh, God.
Red, green,
Red.
and blue that we were seeing.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful effects there. I won't put you on the spot again, I promise you. Don't worry.
I want to just
It's not
try
a
to take it
competition.
all in as a as a lay, well, not even a judge, but just as a lay person.
And the other thing that I really loved, simple things like there was some really green strobe. So the strobe is the flashing effect.
I do remember those.
They were really green, and they had other green fireworks going off that were similar colour, and a lovely green and blue complementary sequence after that. And then, of course, that big brocade finale. And I think one of the other things that we can say here is that one of the things that we also know is that when there were big shells going off, they got a big crowd cheer from the audience. So everybody loves the big shell. But I can tell you, I've heard from Anthony Green that Team 2 have armed their system.
Oh, wow.
There was a small fire on site that has been dealt with. So we're moving ahead very swiftly through to Team 2. So everything going very smoothly tonight, and beautiful weather for it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember last year when we were doing it, we had a couple of instances where I think a few bits and pieces caught fire over on the breakwater, and that all has to be dealt with, whereas so far, touch wood, everything going quite smoothly. Yeah,
the fires are a normal part of having a firework competition out on the breakwater. What happens is after the firework functions normally, but it's really still hot when it goes out. And the winds that we get out from the sea can blow across the hot tubes and really fan the embers so that they glow, and then the firework catches fire. And so our teams are left dealing with these small fires, and we won't push on with the competition until those fires are put out, because we just can't do that during the middle of a show. So we want to get it all done at the start or the end of a display.
Yeah, well, safety is so paramount. I mean, when you see the amount of explosives that are all down there in one place, you can understand why every precaution needs to be had. Up next, we've got Skyburst, the firework company, who are from Bristol. They won, they've been running since 1982, so they have got a lot of experience here, and they do over 300 professional displays a year. So when you've got that kind of caliber behind you, it must be quite difficult to pick out new things for a competition like this.
I don't know, Alan Christie, who runs Skyburst, the firework company, he was telling me earlier he's been involved in fireworks for 45 years, and judging by the lovely list of fireworks that he's given me, I think he's still finding new stuff, even as the company is doing all these shows all around the world. So yeah, I know that Alan loves traveling, and I remember seeing him out in Japan looking at the International Symposium of Fireworks. So there's a guy that is a true firework lover. Yeah. And I think this second show is going to show us a different kind of display because we've got a lot of European material in it. The Europeans, the Italians, the Spanish, they make absolutely incredible fireworks. Lots of multicolours, and the colours are really vivid. So where we've seen reds that are kind of slightly more pinky, reds we'll see that are really red.
Is that a way you're able to differentiate between where in the world the fireworks have come from? Is it a thing like the strength of the colour, or are there other telltale signs?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. The expert judges will be able to spot the high quality material. The alternative is that you use Chinese fireworks. Chinese make, stupendous fireworks. They're really, really good. The manufacturing quality is amazing. Their approach to health and safety and things is really, really good. The product quality is excellent. But you still can't beat the European products. And even companies like Disney World and things where a lot of us will see fireworks around the world, they will be buying fireworks from Europe for that quality.
Oh, wow. These guys in particular, 2023 winners, when I spoke to Alan earlier, we will hear from him in just a moment, but I really liked, he said something to me, which was that he doesn't like sky puke, which he said was when you just chuck a load of fireworks up in the air and set them all off at once. He said if he has a particular shell that's of a large volume, it's going to set off with a big bang. He likes to give it the space it deserves in the sky. So do you think that's something we're going to be seeing from them?
Yeah, we need to look out for that. If he's given each of the really special shells a bit of breathing space, then yeah, I mean, Alan Christie is a master craftsman at fireworks. So I think, yeah, we can enjoy. And I do remember 2 years ago when he won, he was so emotional. And we know that Skyburst have entered this competition many times and not won. So for them to win, we were all really happy with it. And now to be in the Champion of Champions, I think they're in with a shout.
Okay, and as you said, it clearly means a lot to them, when it comes to emotional. It's not just about getting another accolade in the box. They actually really care about, I guess, how people react to their displays too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Alan just puts so much of himself into the display. I can tell you something. The man's a cat lover. He has cats at home, and really big ones. So what have we got? We had jellyfish shells in the last display. This display, we've got cat face shells.
Okay.
So look out for the cat faces in the sky. But we just had, from the adjudicator Charlotte Winship, the 2-minute warning.
Fantastic. Okay, well, we've spoken a lot about Alan, so let's see him now and let him introduce their team this evening.
I'm Alan Christie. I'm the director of Bristol-based Skyburst, the firework company. We'd like to dedicate tonight's display to Jace. We've got some fabulous European material from Italy and also from Spain. Our show, I think, has something for absolutely everybody in tonight. And we were the reigning champions in 2023.
There we go. Alan also mentioning they're dedicating this show to Jace, who was a huge firework fanatic and helped a lot behind the scenes and before she sadly passed away a few years ago. So again, like you said, it means a lot to them. It's an emotional touch.
It is very much, but we've got a rainbow colour opening sequence, Spanish mines with Italian rainbow multi-break shells, mosaic shells, silver strobing to Italian 8-inch strobes. I've got ghost pillar chase with Italian shells. Alan's told me they have butterfly spinners and farfalus. We'll talk about those later. A huge brocade waterfall sequence, lovely big golden trails, multiple crossettes, slat wheels. Look out for the slat wheels. These are big Catherine wheels. Will they work? Will they spin? Yes. Will they look wow enough from 400 meters away where the judges are?
About how that was
and
set
listen
up
for
too.
the howlers. All right, sorry, the hummers. Hummers, I love hummers. They make a howling sound. A proper hummer, and these are proper hummers, I'm told, made in the UK. They're going to be really good. Shapes and emojis, cats, smiley face, more jellyfish, multicolour effects, and a titanium brocade finale.
All right.
There's so much in this. We're well into the final minute. We're just waiting for the final 10-second countdown before this Team 2 Skyburst, the firework company, begins their display.
Okay, so it could be imminent. You rattled off a lot of stuff we've got to get ready and look forward to, and it will be nice to talk about it afterwards in a bit more detail. Any update on the time?
Yeah, I think we're going into the countdown now.
Okay.
Any moment. I'm just waiting to hear
I'm going to let you
from the
lead the
waterfront.
charge.
Yeah, we're any moment now.
What are we at? Oh, yeah, where we are.
And look out for the red, amber and green shells at the start of the fireworks display.
Okay.
They signal the timing that the judges do for exactly 10 minutes. But here goes the countdown.
Okay.
8, 7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
Skyburst, the firework company. All right, that's 2 down, 1 more to go. That was Skyburst, the firework company. I was about to say to you, Andy, a little bit more of a calmer finale, but they almost took a beat and then ended it with that huge gold display there.
Yeah, it was like a false finale, wasn't it? So they had us all thinking that was the end of it, and then it all kicked off again. And we had a massive cheer from the audience there, and so much noise, wasn't there? Very loud and very big, and big brocade finale at the end of that show. Really, I think Alan Christie would have been very happy with it. There are a few places that didn't go perfectly.
No, we saw a couple of fireworks that seemed like they were better placed towards the end, maybe accidentally get fired in the mix of some other things.
Yeah, we saw a golden waterfall sequence, didn't we? Which is absolutely beautiful. We were commenting on how good it is, and we saw one multicoloured waterfall coming down on one side, and we were looking for all those. It wasn't anything wrong with the shell, but we were looking for those patterns, those smiley faces. Yeah. We saw the heart shells. You saw the jellyfish. Did you see the cat?
I think I did. I think it was a bit of a smiley face that looked like it had a big triangular nose, but it's hard to tell sometimes, isn't it?
The problem with those fireworks is that they're often contained in one of those ball shells that you were holding earlier on. So it's a round ball, and when that's fired up into the air like a cannonball, it can burst in any direction, including so that the pattern is flat, and all we see is a flat line. So I've no doubt that those cats were there, and there were probably lots of them, knowing Alan Christie. But you saw them, I didn't.
Yeah, maybe just coming out at most of them at probably the wrong angle for us. But I think maybe one made it through. We were looking as well down towards the waterline itself for these huge Catherine wheels, which slightly obscured by the smoke, but they were certainly there.
Yeah, but it wasn't exciting. Were they going to get spinning or not? They weren't moving for probably the first 10 seconds, and then they were just building up the thrust. And finally they started turning, and then they created loads of smoke, and we couldn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, so were these the ones? Because for context, when Andy and I were down at the breakwater earlier and we spoke to Alan, this may mean more to car enthusiasts than it did to me, but they used the idler bearing of a transit van to put the Catherine wheel together, which for all intents and purposes just looked like a huge wodge of metal. So they've got a van sitting in a warehouse somewhere that they can't use because they took it apart to make the Catherine wheels. I
couldn't believe you told us that, but yeah, the van parts have gone into making those wheels. Well, it was worth it because they got spinning. It's just, unfortunately, wind wasn't in our favour. If it had been blowing out to sea, we'd have seen those beautifully. But we did see loads of other beautiful fireworks. European multi-pillar mines in lots of different patterns, the big silver strobe multi-flash, and then we were ready because Alan had told us to be ready for the 8-inch multi-flash at the end. Yeah. When that went, our crowd here on Plymouth Hoe went crazy. You really feel it on your chest, don't you?
It's the way, I don't know how it is, the vibration carries across the water and then you feel the impact here. It's something you really do have to be here to experience it.
I know that we're lucky all here around Plymouth Sound that we've got so many different towns and villages dotted around the edges, and they can all hear that. And I tell you, that 8-inch was one of the ones that they all heard at home, for sure. We had some beautiful kind of ring shapes that look like flying saucers. Yeah. They look nice. Different coloured farfalla shells, those are the butterfly. They look a bit like a flower with petals coming outwards. We had the gold waterfalls, crackling crosset shells, pastel crossettes, Europa shells, and the hummers. Do you remember the hummers?
Yes, I had to take my earpiece out so I could try and hear it a little bit better. But what is the difference between the fireworks that are named hummers and then the ones that are called screamers, for example?
The hummers, I mean, I love a hummer. Even when I was a child, I can remember standard fireworks, hummers. They had hummer mines and they had hummer Roman candles, and they were just really, really good. It's just a kind of fun sound. It sounds like one of those comic whistles that you hear that people blow sometimes. So yeah, I was looking out for those, and one of the things I asked is whether they were proper hummers, and actually Team 3 have got hummers as well, and they've got proper hummers. a fake hummer sort of does more of a whistle rather than that magical humming
So
sound.
do you think maybe we'll be able to hear a difference between Team 2 and Team 3 with the hummers?
I would imagine they'll all sound the same, because those were proper hummers.
Oh, right.
We've got proper hummers coming up with Team 3. Team 3 are ready to go. Their firing system is armed, and everything is... And in fact, I've just being updated by our man Anthony Green that we are on standby due to a rogue boat that has infiltrated the water cordon. And so the water marshals are having to go and escort it away. You may be able to see it out there on the water. They will be getting that out of the safety zone. So King's Harbour Master has withdrawn permission to fire the show temporarily until that boat is moved along.
Okay, somebody a little bit too keen to get close to the action perhaps tonight. Hopefully it won't knock on too far. Let's turn our attention then to the final team that are going to fire tonight. That is BBB Fireworks. They are from East Sussex, and they are, in a way, our reigning champions. They only won the competition 12 months ago in 2024, and they are part of the Battle Bonfire Society, which originated back in 1646, Andy. So this is the firework arm comes from a much larger kind of historical pyrotechnics bonfire element here.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I can tell you we're green again. The police have escorted that vessel out, and we've been given the clearance again by the harbour master to proceed. Event control are happy for the adjudicator to allow the final show to fire.
All right, I imagine they're quite keen to get on with it. So shall we hear from BBB's spokesperson, and then we'll have a quick chat before they fire.
Hi, my name's Ollie. I'm the pyrotechnics manager of BBB Fireworks, based in Battle in East Sussex. We are the British Firework Champions from 2024. Tonight you can expect a variety of firework effects from all over the world. The ones in particular would be worth watching is the epic finale at the end, where the sky will light up so bright that hopefully it will dazzle the cameras. Hope you enjoy the show.
There we go. Cameras due to be dazzled. Do you think these guys are going to have some of the biggest shells on display tonight?
Well, the maximum size is 8-inch, so they're all teams have to meet that. I can tell you, Ollie and his team are now into the 2-minute countdown, so they're getting very nervous. There's some things to look out for in this, Erin. It opens in the rhythm of a famous Queen song.
Oh, hello.
Now, I can think about what that might be. They haven't told me, but I think I might know what that is. So listen out for a famous Queen song. Yeah. They've got Chinese, Spanish, Italian, and UK product here. They've got some product that we saw last year from Illusion Pyrotechnics, made in the UK, lightning shells, Niagara shells, whistles, screamers, and hummers in 3- and 6-inch diameter, Italian ghost shells and brocade to strobe from Spain, and a finale obliterating the sky with noise and special silver brocade crown shells from Sunny Factory in China. 1,086 single shots, 1,400 shells, 2 to 8-inch in diameter in 8 positions, 15 crew, 5 tons of equipment, and over half a ton of explosives.
Okay, it's going to be big, it's going to be bold, and it's going to be loud, I think is fairly safe to say.
We're closer. Coming up for the countdown any moment. Here we go.
All right.
8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. BBB Fireworks. Well, each display can have up to 550 kilograms of net explosive mass. That's right, isn't it, Andy? And I think it's fair to say they probably went with almost all of it.
I think they went right up to the limit there, didn't they? Really, really spectacular display, and I think that finale got the biggest response from the audience down here on Plymouth Hoe. It was really colourful. Had to say that we saw quite a lot of smoke during this display, and I understand that if you're over in the Barbican at the moment...
It's all going that way.
It's all going that way at the moment, but there's nothing we can do to control where the smoke goes, unfortunately. Other times, it will go out to sea. But we started off there with the Queen song, and Erin, did you spot that Queen song?
We Will Rock You, yes?
Yes!
Yes!
You're correct. Sorry, I said no more questions.
I know, yeah, but luckily I got that one right, so it's fine.
We had some lovely white multi-flash shells going off there. We can see here some pink. Look, there you go. Look at that pink multi-flash in the sky in the centre. Really, really beautiful shells going off. They're lovely, some purple shells and different colours here. This is an interesting show because it had highs and lows, and there were some points where it was perhaps not as strong as some of the other displays we've already seen tonight, and then other areas where it was really strong, like that finale that we just saw that you really, really felt on you. But yeah, I loved it. There was that very colourful square shape that we saw up in the sky at one point. Did you see the spirals? Red spirals?
Yes, saw some spirals.
Yeah, rings, some smiley faces. They weren't... see, you can judge... We've seen smiley faces throughout the night. You can judge one smiley face against another, can't you? And we weren't... Those smiley faces weren't quite as good in this one.
Is it a bit of a risk putting them in sometimes, just because of the way, like you said, they may appear in the sky?
Yeah, I think that if I was designing a show for this Champion of Champions, I want the variety. I want to show the judges that I've brought out all the tricks, and I've used everything that I possibly could. So that's why we're seeing that. Look at that multi-flash. And that you really felt, didn't you?
Yes.
Huge, great big shell. And the silver strobe down at the bottom as well. And look at that going up, raising at different altitudes, going up into the sky there. Really very, very nice. We had a red, white and blue sequence after this as well, after the multi-flash. And then we had some shells with some fairly, what I would call simple colours. Red, green, blue and gold. They're probably the colours that you see most often in Chinese fireworks.
So a bit kind of standard, your standard.
Pretty standard, yeah. But they were offset by beautiful things like this, where you see lots of different colours. And we saw lots of multi-level. I think our crew really liked this one, didn't they? I mean, they were lots of...
like it.
Yeah, they were making lots of comments.
Was
that was fantastic, wasn't it? Yeah, they really enjoyed that this particular one. And do you remember that bright flash with the loud bang that came in?
Because I looked directly at it, and now I still can't quite see you properly.
It was really dazzling if you were down here in Plymouth, weren't you? And multicolour shell finale that turned into the big and perhaps most awesome finale of the night that was really silver and bright and full of noise.
Well, I wanted to ask about this because we saw gold finales in the previous two teams, and it seemed like that's a bit of a standard fare to go gold, but not the case. This, with the multicoloured one, seeing something a bit different, do you think that may give them an edge?
Well, they went multicolour into silver, didn't they? So they replaced the gold with silver, but that was still the kind of hanging effect. It was very classy. It was perhaps one up on the gold. In that, what you really want is something that hangs there. And I don't know whether you noticed, but we have that keep-out zone for all the craft out in Plymouth Harbour, and we needed every inch of it tonight for that finale because there was silver raining down all over the place. That's why we had to chase off that boat with the police earlier.
It makes
because
sense
we've got something like that going off, and they knew about it.
Well, certainly a fantastic way to end night one. And we get to do it all over again tomorrow with 3 more teams, which is absolutely fantastic. We'll just have a little look at the teams that we've got coming up for you tomorrow on the screen here. For you, we have Cellstar fireworks, fully fused fireworks, and First Galaxy fireworks. They'll all be looking forward to showing off what they've got. It's quite tricky, isn't it, when you go from night one to night two, because now these guys all know what's come before them and what to expect. Having done it before, do you have a preference with which night to perform on?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, hands down, you want to fire the third team on the second night because there's a psychological advantage. People think that they're going to be in a good position and they've got an advantage there. But, you know, we've got a really great night of fireworks ahead. I heard a really interesting statistic earlier that last year's firework competition brought something like £9.29 million worth of publicity to Plymouth. That was reported by Tudor Evans, leader of the council. And you can see why. The hotels are full, the restaurants are full, the Ho here, and all along the Citadel and right into the Barbican. They didn't get such a good view tonight, but hopefully tomorrow they'll have a great view.
Yeah.
It's so much going on. We have 3 very special shows there. There are people there. Cellstar, remember, are our current reigning champion of champions. So I think that they will be really out to try and retain that title. That would be the first time it's been done in competition history. And what an achievement that would be. Great for their company. So they'll be trying really hard. Fully fused, very competent firework display company. First Galaxy Fireworks, likewise. The judges have got a real difficult job on their hands. I wouldn't like to call it. We saw lots of strengths in lots of different parts of the shows tonight. And, you know, there were things that some parts of the audience cheered at more and bits that they didn't, and in vice versa in different shows. So, but likewise, watch Cellstar. I don't know what they've got planned, but we will know beforehand tomorrow. They almost certainly will want to defend their title.
All right, so still very much all to play for, and we get to do it all over again. Before we wrap up for this evening, just a couple of special mentions. I want to give a mention to Paul Grant, who unfortunately missed last year's competition. He's no longer with us, but his family are here on Plymouth Hoe in his memory, here to celebrate him. So thank you for coming. Thank you as well to our BSL interpreters on the stage here on the Hoe, doing their bit, making sure everyone is part of the action. Thanks to the team, of course, and most importantly, thanks to all of you watching at home and in person. We hope to have you again tomorrow. Thank you as well, of course, to you, Andy, for all of your expertise, and I look forward to hearing all about it tomorrow night. Night 2 then will be underway. We'll be here live from 9 o'clock.